know what's so attractive about men? Because a lot of these dudes talk about fertility and looks and stuff. I don't actually think it's that. I think that in the modern world, in the days of old, right, you meet a woman, you get married, you get together, whatever. In the modern world, if I meet a girl who's 33 and single, I know the amount of that's been through her before me is just simply unattractive. I don't care how nice you are, but you're 33 years old. How many men have fun? If I get a 19-year-old girl, I might be your second or third man, right? I'm going to be dude number 29, and all the trauma and heartbreak and bullshit they put you through, you're going to try and bring to my door? Like, well, my last man cheated. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, why is that my problem? So if you pick up older women, you have to accept they've been on the carousel longer. They've had more rides, more spins. I don't want that shit. When I see a beautiful young woman, I know that she has a very low body count. And that, and also, but the truth is, women's mentality is absolutely connected to sex. If a woman sleeps with a bunch of men, it's harder to penetrate her mind and make her fall in love with you. It is unattractive too. And it's unattractive. It is. But if she's had 30 dudes inside of her, she really didn't think, you know what, this guy's so special, or she didn't think, you know what, he talked to me rude, I'll just go get a new guy. Whereas if a woman's only been with a few guys, she's much more likely to fall in love with you, be a better partner. So the likelihood of her falling completely in love with you and staying loyal to you and really believing you're the only man for her after being through so much trauma and so many men and sleeping with so many dudes and having her heart broken and having those memories of her ex and all that crap she's been through is far less likely than meeting a nice, young, beautiful girl who hasn't been with many men. And she goes, you know what? This is the guy I like him. Every woman who knows this and every man who watches this can be honest. Women fall in love with the person they lose their virginity to or the second or third guy. They really remember them. They really love them. Any woman who slept with 50 dudes, she doesn't even remember who most of them are. She doesn't care. If a woman slept with a bunch of men before you, she's less likely to stick it out through a difficult period of a relationship. She's more likely to just think, you know what, new answers, new good.
That's a pretty good answer.
And that's the truth. Let me make something clear. If I meet a beautiful 30-year-old woman, I'm not saying I won't sleep with her.
That's pretty fucking old.
Yeah.
30?
I know.
What are you, crazy?
There's been times I was drunk.
Okay, your reaction to it, then Andy will let you go, and then after you give your reaction, you're free to take off. Emma, go ahead. What do you think?
I always forget he's British.
Well, he's American, and anyways.
Wasn't that a British accent?
Well,
I don't think
disregard the nationality. What's your reaction to what he said?
Like the whole body count discussion.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, hold that same energy for men.
Okay, so you want him to also adhere to those standards, not be a hypocrite.
I'm just saying, if you're disgusted by a woman that has a high body count, why can't we be turned off by a man with a high body count?
Okay, I'll respond to that afterwards, but I do have a response to that. Andy, go ahead.
Honestly, I checked out because all I could think about is my beautiful 12-year-old boy that I can't wait to be home with. So
then go ahead. Okay.
See ya. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sydney, your response.
Yeah, I think it is definitely like a double standard for sure, because I don't know, it's two people like taking part in the sex.
Take the books off the table. Take the books off the table. Okay. Yeah, I guess you could put that. Put it on the ground if you. Yeah. Thank you, Sydney.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do definitely think it's two people having sex. The body count raises for one or the other. Why is it such a big deal if women have a higher body count and then men have, say men have a higher body count? Why is that not as judged versus if women have a higher body count, that's more judged?
Okay, well, I'll just, since that's kind of both your thing.
Yeah.
Can
I just don't agree with it.
Well, because it's harder for men to get laid. That's the primary thing. What? Here, put. What? You gave me a look. Well, do the look again, just so that.
It depends on what they look like and what they their personality. Because if you're hot and you're a dude, you can fuck a lot of girls.
Even an average-looking girl can run circles around a top-tier guy.
But we don't.
But you can.
But we don't.
But you do.
But we don't.
But
I think a guy that's a 5 is gonna fuck exponentially more women than a girl that's a 7 or an 8.
You think a guy who's a 5
can, or who they
guys will get who they can when they can, in any circumstance.
Women sleep with who they want.
Yeah.
Men sleep with who they can.
Yeah.
So you're proving my point. You just said a guy who's a 5 can sleep with more women.
I'm saying a guy that's a 5 will sleep with more women.
Will. Yes, I mean if a guy was given the option.
I'm saying in
but
my
guys who are
experience, I'm saying in
Okay.
my experience of very mediocre men, especially in Isla Vista specifically, guys that you could find a dime a dozen of them have 2-3 times my body count, whereas I'm not hideously ugly, but my body count's pretty low just because I don't choose to do that. But
a guy who's a 5 is not going to outperform a woman who's a 7.
But he did.
Okay, there's outliers,
He
and
slept
guys.
with all of Isla Vista,
Okay, but
and
so
I kept
guys can.
my circle tight.
I will grant you this: guys can make up for their bad looks in other ways.
That's
So if
true.
they're incredibly charismatic, or they
That's
have
true.
social status, or if they have money, those are ways in which guys can kind of make up for it. But when it just comes down to it, it's harder for men to get laid.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period.
Yeah.
But you
no,
disagree.
I'm not arguing against that.
You disagree that it's.
I disagree.
You think it's easier
I
for
mean,
men to get laid?
In my own personal experience, I disagree. I don't know about like in general, but I've found it that guys get laid easier than like I do.
Really, Jubilee? What do you think about this?
I mean, you were saying how a guy's looks can, or a guy's other things can make up for his looks. I agree with that. I'm saying with the guy I'm talking to, or whatever. He's like not like the hottest guy ever. He's not the hottest guy ever, but his personality makes up for it.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I think it's a lot easier for girls to
get laid.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you said in your experience.
In my experience, I don't know about everyone else's, but in mine,
I think if
It-
you used your power too, though, because I have this argument back and forth with one of my guy friends, and like we've argued about this, but he's like, if you text a guy and you're just like, hey, you want to come over tonight, like point blank period, easy. But like women are pickier with it. Like I'll like have that thought, but I'm like, that's a lot of effort. I don't want to do that. Like I don't do the hookup thing.
Mm-hmm.
But women,
Really?
yeah,
You don't do the hookup thing?
No, I don't. That's not something I'm like
Are you-
interested in.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It kind of gives me the creeps a little bit. Like I think about it, but then I'm just like, I can't.
I think guys just place a lot. I think guys
Okay.
place a lot more importance and power on the body count number, whereas women don't, because I've had a guy tell me personally, the same guy that was a 5 that was like sleeping with half of Isla Vista has literally told me directly, like, the thing that makes you attractive to me, or the thing that makes you more attracted to me, is how low your body count is.
That's
So
right.
that's where it's like, it's the same thing as like Madonna and whore complex, where it's like a man wants a woman that's like motherly and a Madonna, but then at the same time he wants a whore that's going to do the nasty things for him. So there's a very fine line.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right that men generally care more about body count.
Right.
than
And I
women,
think, well, I think
but-
what was funny to me was that, like, okay, yes, I have a low body count, but for me it's because I am more of a relationship person. Not to say that I've had hookups before, but for me, I just didn't really understand, like, okay, yeah, so my body count's like this number and it's low, but it's because I've been with the same person. What makes me different for having sex with the same guy 20 times versus a girl that's had sex with 20 different guys?
Yeah, like I
Where's
agree
the
with
logic
There's a
there?
huge difference.
So for
No,
men,
there's
There's a huge
not.
difference.
so for men, I guess generally it's just a session, but for girls, it's an experience, whether they liked it or not. It's a whole different perspective. Guy, I hit it and whatever, wham, whatever.
Yeah.
But for a girl, it's like, this fool was on me, like he smelled a certain way, like he rubbed me, he was good in the beginning, and then it got kind of weird. Like girls dial in when guys just look at it like just another hole or holes.
But like, I
Or
think
just-
like
Yeah.
with this guy, he was like, oh,
For
like,
guys,
you know,
it's a
girls in
session. For
Isla
girls, it's an
Vista, they'll go
experience.
out in like 30 guys, 40 guys. And it's like, well, like, yes, I was with one guy, but I've been 30, 40 times. So how does that make me, like, my value or my, I don't know.
That, well, I mean, there's
Different.
a whole lot.
doesn't.
There's
That's great.
There's a whole lot there, but in the same, okay, I would rather a girl sleep with one guy 300 times than sleep with 100 guys 3 times.
Why?
because it's a different guy each
I
time.
have to articulate why I'd prefer
Well,
not to
I
sleep
think
with
it's just
someone
like-
that's.
I just
okay,
think
I'll
it's-
articulate it.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think what was articulated to me, I'm sure there's like so many more reasonings behind this from the male perspective, but what was articulated to me is like, oh, well, like, I wouldn't want you sleeping with a bunch of different guys because then that makes you loose. But, like, how
Like
would... I don't know. That's what he said to me. And it's like, how am I tighter or looser based on the amount of times I've had sex, whether it's the same person or different people?
It's different.
I'm pretty sure that's a myth, unless you're like really super rough with a guy who's really well endowed. Otherwise, like you being, I'm pretty sure that's cap, that whole thing. He might have meant it. He might have meant loose in the colloquial sense.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't know. I just think it was really weird to be put on a pedestal for a number, like my body count, and then hear him and like his guy friends trash other women for their sexual behaviors. It was just a weird.
I don't.
Why can't it just be equal for everybody, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's
same energy is all.
As far as the whole like, what's the difference between having a whole bunch of sex with one guy and having sex once or just a few times with a bunch of guys? So I mean, here's a couple of reasons why body count matters. STDs, more baggage. The more men you deal with, the more more likely to have baggage from past relationship, some sort of trauma, whatever. You start chipping away at your ability to pair bond. You remove the intimacy from the act of sex. If sex is just sport to you, if it's just sport fucking, then it's no longer going to be this cherished, special, intimate thing that you do with someone that you care about and either have an emotional connection with or love. That's fine, but the reality is if you just fuck 300 dudes, you think number 301 is going to be special?
Yeah.
No. Also, it says something about your behavior, your decision making, your temperament. It suggests to me that you're an impulsive individual if you have a high body count. If you have a high body count, it sort of necessitates that you take part in hookup culture. You're probably less likely to be concerned about stuff like STDs. I mean, if I'm going to roll the dice, and sleep with, if I have to choose, like, which one's more likely to have an STD? There's the girl who slept with one guy, and then there's a girl who slept with 100 guys.
So it comes down to who you'd rather not wear a condom with.
I mean, body count, I don't think it matters as long as you're safe. You get
That's
tested,
what I'm
whatever.
saying.
Like, it
Wear a
doesn't matter.
That's not how
regardless.
STDs work. That's not how STDs work.
I mean, I think it was also just like when this was a situation between me and this guy I was seeing, is that like the way they were talking about other women that were like, oh, all Isla Vista girls are sluts. Like, you're not a slut. And it's like, what? I'll be a slut. Like, I can be a slut for one guy. Like, maybe I'm not a slut for everyone, but I don't know. I just think there's like very...
You need not be like a sexually reserved prude.
Yeah.
You can have a low body count and be sexually open and
right,
and have a fulfilling sex life.
Yeah.